She had everything: wealth, power, and a life of luxury. He had nothing but the clothes on his back. When he walked into the upscale restaurant, she mocked him, humiliated him, and told him he didn't belong. But the very next day, her world turned upside down. She found herself begging for help, and the only person who could save her was the man she had humiliated. Stay tuned for a shocking story of arrogance, karma, and an unexpected twist. Jessica Monroe was the kind of woman who had never faced hardship. She dined at the most expensive restaurants, drove luxury cars, and lived in a penthouse overlooking the city. To her, status was everything. One evening, she sat at her usual table in a high-end restaurant, sipping a glass of imported wine. The atmosphere was perfect until a homeless man cautiously walked in. His clothes were tattered, his face weathered from years on the streets. He wasn't begging. He simply looked around, as if searching for something. Jessica wrinkled her nose in disgust. "Can you believe this?" she muttered to her friend. "What is someone like that doing here?" Before the staff could intervene, Jessica decided to take matters into her own hands. Jessica turned to the homeless man with a smirk. "You're in the wrong place, old man. People like you don't belong in restaurants like this." The room fell silent. Other diners exchanged glances, but no one spoke up. The man's expression didn't change. He simply looked at her, then at the food being served around him. Jessica laughed mockingly. "Go find a street corner to sit on, where you belong." The man nodded slowly, then turned and walked out without a word. Jessica waved him off and continued her meal, completely unaware that within 24 hours she would regret every word. The next morning, Jessica's world collapsed. A financial scandal had erupted. Her bank accounts were frozen, her assets seized. Everything she had taken for granted was gone in an instant. She rushed to her penthouse, but security denied her entry. "I'm sorry, ma'am. The building is no longer yours." Her luxury car? Repossessed. Her designer clothes? Now worthless. Jessica was in shock. "There must be a mistake," she pleaded. But there was no mistake. In just one day, she went from a wealthy socialite to having nothing. With no money, no friends willing to help, and no one to turn to, she found herself wandering the streets, hungry, cold, and desperate. And then, she saw him. The same homeless man she had humiliated the night before was sitting on a bench, quietly eating a sandwich. Jessica's stomach growled painfully. She hadn't eaten all day. She hesitated, then walked toward him. For the first time in her life, she felt ashamed. "Excuse me, sir, I don't have anywhere to go, and The man looked up at her, recognizing her instantly. Jessica lowered her gaze. "I'm sorry for what I said to you. I was wrong. And now, I need help." The man studied her for a moment before reaching into his bag. He pulled out a wrapped sandwich and handed it to her. "Here, you look like you could use this." Tears welled up in Jessica's eyes. The very person she had mocked and humiliated was now showing her kindness. "Why are you helping me?" she whispered. The man smiled gently. "Because unlike you, I know what it's like to have nothing, and no one deserves to go hungry." Jessica took the sandwich with trembling hands. At that moment she realized that wealth isn't about money. It's about character. Money can come and go. Status can rise and fall. But kindness? That's what truly matters. Never look down on someone just because they have less than you, because one day the roles may be reversed. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful real-life stories. Have you ever seen karma in action? Tell us in the comments.